What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be playing around with a game called Grit and Valor, which is kind of like a reimagining of World War II, where what if the bad guys won in World War II? And then from there, what if both the bad guys and the good guys, prior to the winning of the war by the Axis, had been using giant heavy mechs against one another in order to advance the war effort? Kind of an interesting idea for a game. A little bit of like Iron Harvest in there. I think a little bit of... I hesitate to say Into the Breach, because Into the Breach is not... I hesitate to say Into the Breach there because Into the Breach is a very, very heavily positional-based game, whereas I've found that, like, this game you've got a little bit of wiggle room. When you play something like Into the Breach, you need to be in the right spot at the right time or you're going to get utterly smashed. But today we're going to take a look at the game for about 30 minutes and see if you wanted to add it to your wish list or if it's something that you wanted to pass on. If after watching this you did indeed want to get the game for yourself, I do have a link for you down below in the description where you can check it out. The demo is available right this second. You can play it right this minute if that's what you want to do. And so let's crack on into this thing. Let's have a look at it and see if it's any good. You can also find a link to my Discord and my Twitch stream just in case you wanted to hang out live down there. So as I said, Grit and Valor is sort of like a man in the high tower type situation where the Axis won World War II. It is now 1949, 1950, and a very small pocket of resistance fighting out of Scotland is trying to drive them out of the British Isles, and they will do that with giant, heavy mechs that are built for murder. This game kind of tries to seek to marry in positional-based combat, something like you would see in Into the Breach, with tower defense mechanics. If you think of each of your mechs as an actual geographically flexible turret, that's effectively what this game is. You're trying to set up in positions so that the enemy can't have their way with you, and so if they can't move through the map comfortably, there's usually also going to be side objectives and things like that you can play around with as you move through the title. This mission, its only side objective is that I deal a bunch of explosive damage, and so there's not really a side objective on this one. It's just kind of play the game as normal, and if you hit it, you hit it. But that's what the game is going for. The game does have real-time pause. However, I found with the demo when I initiated it, unfortunately, the real-time pause was actually unbound. I thought that I had to play this game in real time for my entire first run until I was like, there's no way in this day and age. This is such an obvious sort of like real-time with pause game where you need to think about where you're putting your units that they can't have forgotten to put that in, right? And in fact, they did not. It was just unbound or whatever by default. Effectively, what's going to happen in the overall flow of the game is that you have a base. You're going to be in that base at the beginning of the game, and that's where you're going to be crafting upgrades and creating things to make yourself a little bit tougher for the next run. At its core, this game is indeed a roguelite. So it's a game that you are meant to lose on your first run, and then from there, you kind of go through and you get new parts for your mechs, you get new things that you can slap on that make them stronger and more resilient in the withering fire of the enemy. Your mechs do have abilities, so for example, my little flamethrower tank right here, he's got an ability where a little mechadendrite servo arm is going to come out and actuate and fix up his armor. While we're in between rounds and things like that, I can sort of initiate that as I desire to do so. Damn, you getting nuked right now, bro. You getting laid out right now by the mortar fire of that mech. And then from there, you're going to go into a world map where it's very much the same thing that you've seen from something like Slay the Spire, where you've got nodes. You go to different nodes on a map, and different nodes are going to provide you with different challenges. Depending on whether or not you do the side objective, you get more money and currency and metagame currency and stuff to buy more mech upgrades. You've also got pilots. Pilots can be swapped out freely between any mech, although some of them have synergies with certain mechs versus others. You can upgrade your pilots there as well, where you can increase like their firing rate, their range, stuff like that. Whenever you complete a mission, they're going to give you a buff to one of your units. It's basically going to pick one of the classes that you have on in here. There's like 6 mechs in the game right now, but 3 of them are locked inside of the demo, and I don't know if you're going to unlock those in the demo. But we have a flamethrower tank, we have a machine gun mech, and we have a mortar mech as of right now. When you get to the end of the mission, it's going to pick one of the mechs that you actively have inside of this run, and it's going to ask you what you want to upgrade about them. These upgrades come in different qualities. Unfortunately, most of these upgrades that I've seen so far are just flat stat conditionals, and so they just give you like 10% more damage.
15% more damage if you're doing a certain thing. I definitely think there's room to improve that right there and get some much more interesting abilities and upgrades that'll synergize with one another. Probably one of my main complaints about the game right now is that flat stats are really, really sterile and kind of boring ultimately.
But our upgrades here is while our ballistic mechs are on the high ground, they get better fire rates. If our ballistic mechs have increased fire rate, they get increased fire rate and they put suppressed on the enemy, so it looks like they have reduced movement speed. Not really a concern in this game since it's mostly a game about brawling. I don't think I've come across too many missions so far where the enemy is trying to race you to an objective or trying to get there first. Might be useful if we had missions like that, but so far it's basically just a throwdown on every single map. We also have guarded assault, which means that if a ballistic mech is in cover, their damage gets increased. I'll take that one because I've found through the last 90 minutes to 2 hours of playing the game that having more damage than the enemy is ultimately the number one way to win. Just hit harder than they do, and then you don't need to pay attention to the rock, paper, scissors thing that the game has going on. You may have noticed that your mechs, they do not repair in between missions. They keep all of the damage that they take. That's because you have limited use abilities on each of these mechs, so my flamethrower mech, as I showed you, is able to repair itself. My command module right here is able to reinforce, which means that it puts out a little healing AoE that will heal up everybody's health. This guy has landmines that he can deploy all throughout the map. Sometimes helpful, sometimes not. This guy has jump jets, so he can death from the sky the enemy. If you've never played Mech Warrior before, there's a thing called death from the sky where you jump your mech up into the air and you make a Hail Mary roll to instantly one-shot your enemy by landing on top of them. This guy does that, except without a dice roll. And so there it is. We've got an event on our next node. You notice an Axis convoy approaching from a distance being escorted by a squad of mechs. Who knows what or who they are transporting? We can attack it, which will give us ability charges. All of your abilities have limited charges that do not come back unless you have special things on the map that you hit. Or we can just ignore this thing. Our command vehicle will take 50 damage. I'm okay with that. Give me another ability charge. That's fine. I can heal off most of that damage anyways, and so it shouldn't really... Actually, I can't repair him. The command mech, or the command tank, can't really be healed. You mostly use this guy right here to, like, run objectives, but I think if he dies, you lose, and so make sure you keep him hidden away. Let's take another mission. Alright, so inside this mission right here, we've got to deliver fuel supplies, and we also need to defend our command vehicle for 6 waves. Sounds good. Let's start her up. So we've got a fuel refinery over here. I'm going to get him started picking up the fuel supplies so that we can reinforce the convoy. I don't know where the enemy's going to hit us from. It looks like they're coming in from the left with explosive damage. That means we want to have a flamethrower over here. Flamethrower is strong against explosive damage. He's also in cover, which should be really nice. In this game, cover is very important because cover mitigates all damage until the cover is destroyed. So you definitely want to be in cover inside the confines of this game. Let's go ahead and pull you back and put you in right there. Don't let them take that cover spot. The game does have kind of like weird controls, and it took me a minute to joust with. Are they dropping another unit on that right-hand side? If they're dropping another unit on that right-hand side, I need this guy to be over here so that we have someone to field that kind of mayhem. They don't fire while moving, which is kind of weird, since that's like a Mech Warrior staple. I do wish that they fired while moving. Let's deliver the fuel over to here while we wait for the next wave. Explosive is coming in from the south, so we're going to want to have a flamethrower in cover down here. And then it may not be the worst idea on Earth to landmine the front of that, because the AI really seems to like pushing up against the edge of cover whenever they can, and so they might try to make a rush for that cover right there. In which case, they will get shot in the face repeatedly, and it will be incredibly painful for them. Gunfire going away. I found the sound design of the game to be quite good. It actually feels like you're inside of a war zone. They've gone with punchy and sort of plosive sounds for all the machine guns and weapons and things like that that exist inside the confines of the game. They're firing over there. He's wheeling his way around to go pick up some more fuel supplies, and we will see where the enemy decides to deploy. We have an enemy landing over here. Let's go ahead and put artillery on top of them, and then if I can get this guy into position, I don't actively want him to have the low ground. That's kind of like risky. I've also gotten in the habit of recentering all my units, since you never know what side the enemy's going to come from. Putting yourself back at the center tends to be a really good idea. Put down some landmines right there, because I don't think you're going to have the DPS to get this done. Landmines worked well, so the enemy's been blown up and eliminated. He's got the last load of fuel already on board, so let's get that moved. The orange meter on this mech right here is armor. I'm not really too sure about the difference between armor and HP so far. As far as I can tell, armor just seems like it is HP. It doesn't fix itself in between missions, so it doesn't have any sort of peculiar advantage over HP. No damage mitigation or anything else like that I've noticed thus far. It just seems to be kind of like an HP shield that exists until it runs out to give you a little bit more of a buffer, getting further on into the rounds before you start actively accruing sort of, I guess, attrition against the HP of your mech. And so that's an armor bar right there. We'll drop these guys on into some positions so that they can start firing. We do have one explosive guy coming down this way. I would suggest deploying landmines right there and then setting him up inside of an ambush position to drag them across the mines. Good gunfire going right there, but he's a little bit outgunned. Fall back. They did not go for the landmines over there, which is really, really unfortunate. I wish they had. Can you wheel around back there? You're taking a little bit too much damage for my taste. Minefields are up. We've delivered all the fuel that we need to deliver. Let's group everybody back up. We're going to get a consolidated front right here, and there's a reason that I'm doing that, and it's because I'm going to try to AoE heal everybody while we have everybody in position. And so you run your AoE. There we go. AoE's looking good. I don't know why you're moving over there, though. That's the last place that I want you to move. I need you to be, like, in the back lines, in the rear with the gear. Sir, you're a logistical vehicle. Like, I respect your hard-charging, go-get-'em attitude, but I bet you they're going to come from this way. They did not come from that way. Okay. Let's sort of seed the ground for right now and let them go the way that they're going to go. We have lots and lots of landmines, so let's just kind of like bait them to come to us. And it looks like they are dropping in a heavy walker right there. He's explosive type, which is weak against fire, so we should be okay. Flamethrower got him right there. He's got us outranged on that side, so we need to bait him in. He's been baited and eliminated, and we're looking pretty good. That's going to be another victory. The game is frenetic, and it does sort of make you think when you're trying to figure out exactly what you want to do with the positions that you've got going on. That compared with the charming graphics that the game's got going on is I think they're definitely on to something right here. Whenever your fire mechs deal damage, they have a chance to heal. Okay. While your fire mechs are on high ground, their movement speed is faster. While your fire mechs are in cover, they get 30% damage. I gotta go with that one, dude. That one's just, I have found that sum totality, that damage is like the only thing that matters in this game. We have an advanced combat over here. I do have a lot of resources left, so I'd be kind of tempted to take the advanced combat. We do have a repair station over on that side, though, that'll fix up our mechs in between combats before we get to the boss. And so I'd like to push out over to here, but I kind of want to take some of these elite fights, too. Let's take this guy right here, because if there's anything I've learned from Slay the Spire, it's that you should always take every elite fight that you possibly can. Let's get this guy loading fuel. Hopefully they don't come from the left. They are coming from the right, and unfortunately the right has no cover. We'll go ahead and deploy him right there. The game does tooltip for like your damage ranges and things of that nature. How far the ranges of your mech when it's being deployed. Oh, this area has air raids. Very, very nice. I didn't even notice the air raid conditional on this one. So the bad guys are going to try to be bombing us this entire time. We got flamethrower troops over there. Let's wheel you back around to over here. The enemy may take cover on that side before we can kill him. No, they didn't take cover before we could kill him, so we're okay. Go ahead and deliver the fuel, and hopefully they don't come from the south. They did indeed come from the south. All right, so let's get our flamethrower in over here. Let's get you roughly right there. Let's get you lined up on this side to cover him while he makes this fuel drop off. We've got another bunch of bombs being dropped, so that's, I was going to say that's good, but that's actually not good. Probably would have been more dominant to take the high ground right here. Probably would have been wiser. You get back over here and grab everything you can off the fuel depot. You scrum it out with them, and we've got another explosive guy coming down this way. Go ahead and reposition yourself on the high ground, please. Good stuff. Didn't even get a chance to fire a shot, which is exactly what I like to see. We got stuff coming from the right, and it's explosive, so let's get our flamethrower all nice and centered up over here. We'll keep on running fuel while moving stuff around. We do have bombers coming in, which is going to make things markedly more complicated. Don't drop off the fuel until the bombing lines have been done. That guy is now down. We have fields of fire everywhere, which is going to make this a little bit more complicated. So that's going to limit the amount that I can move my units around. Flamethrower should get him before he does any considerable damage to our logistical tank. Let's move this over here. I would like to get my machine gun guy repaired. I like that little ambush spot that he's got. 54 damage. Good lord. All right, secondary objective is done. They're coming from this side. The good news is we have really good cover on this side. Let's go ahead and move him. Oh, he flushed me like a toilet. Okay. All right, not great. Would have preferred to not get flushed like that by a bombing pass, but that's the way she goes, I suppose. Let's put our hit guy up there so that he can bomb out the enemy a little bit. Good machine gun fire going out. Mortar fire looks like it's doing its deal. Okay, enemy's been vanquished along that side. You go ahead and get adjacent with him. We're about to run another repair. Repair has been run, and everybody's looking a little bit healthier than they previously were. I don't know where the enemy's coming from, but they tried to... Ooh, okay. So we've got flamethrowers over here. Let's move you up to there. Mortar, you get in right there. There's no other access for my flamethrower, unfortunately. So I think we're kind of like stuck where we're at with my flamethrower. Flamethrower can probably get in right there, though, and that might be okay. Yeah, just put gunfire on, guys. Yeah, he took more damage than I like right there, but that tends to be a fact with the ballistic unit, is unfortunately, I found that the ballistic unit, I tend to use him as like a siege engine, and that means that he gets chewed up pretty good. Maybe put you right there. I don't know where the air raids are going to come from. Let's keep everybody in motion. Just to throw off the bombings. I'll take that. That's fine. Oh, no! No! My command vehicle! I missed one, unfortunately. A little bit of an oversight. It does look like occasionally we get little frame chuggies while moving around. He's strong against bullets. Bullets, you should pull back. Flamethrower, engage him. Yeah, I was going to say, that's going to sting. We're definitely going to have to hit a mechanic before too long. I think I'm going to have to spend my time protecting the bullet mech. All right, so demolition defect. Your explosive mechs have a fire rate increase and inflict defected on the enemy. Deals reduced damage with their weapons. That's not bad. Peak performance. While your explosive mechs are on high ground, their ability recharge is quickened. Your explosive mechs deal critical damage. They have a chance to instantly execute the enemy. I'm going to go with the fire rate increase because the biggest weakness thus far that I can see on my artillery mech is that he's just slower firing than everything else. And so that looks like it'll fix one of his considerable problems, is that he just needs to fire faster. He's only got a little bit of HP left. Go ahead and give him some love and touch and squeezing. We have flamethrowers coming from that side, which means it would be wise to get these guys lined up over here. Hopefully we don't have to deal with any AoEs or like bombing runs this time around. You fall back maybe and just let them handle it, because we've got a nice clean and even lineup right here. If you guys don't engage, perfect. They've been eliminated with a plomba. 300 damage dealt with explosive classes. I don't know if that's going to happen. That may not be a thing that takes place here. Let's get some flamethrower tanks around. Let's pull him back over here. I like those very analog, clunky sounds that the mechs have. I think they sound very, very nice. He's already in cover, so he should be defended from taking too much damage. We've got a big rush of enemies coming after us right now. Good stuff. So far, it appears as though we've managed to fight off the advance without taking any damage, which is good because like half my vehicles are on fire right now, which is always a little nerve-wracking. Let's take the high ground right here. We'll use him as like a last bastion just in case the enemy makes it through. With the high ground, we should be able to expunge these dudes pretty aggressively. You get into cover, too, just in case they start firing on you. Good stuff. It's looking okay. That faster fire rate, I can already feel it paying off dividends. That's good. We've got flamethrowers coming in from over here, so we're going to run pretty much the exact same op that we ran last time to defend ourselves. Get him into cover because he's got the lowest HP. And then from there, we'll just murder everything we possibly can. Maybe drop a few landmines over there, too. We don't know exactly where they're going to land at. It looks like they're actually going to land on the rise up here, which is real unfortunate. Wish they were not landing on the rise. Okay, he took a little bit of a scuffing right there, but that's okay. He can self-repair. So protecting everybody else is kind of more important. I would like to have the high ground here again, just like we did last time. The exact same shtick. Take the high ground and whittle them down as they go down this little thoroughfare. Let's go ahead and circle the wagons. We'll get the command vehicle all nice and in there. Everything feels crunchy, and everything feels correct here, though, which is nice. Lots of enemies landing, a little bit of damage taken right there. Oh, yeah, go ahead and advance then. He didn't have the range. I need something that increases my flamethrower's range. All right, last wave is incoming. We got flamethrowers coming in from that side. Everybody's a little bit wounded right now, so let's get everybody in just like a nice tight row, and we'll light off this AoE to heal everybody and see if we make it through. Everybody's in position. Get you some free HP. You fall back, bait them into the trap. Good stuff. Launch what you can at what you can. If we don't hit the secondary objective, I don't really mind that much. We're in a fairly dominant position, though. That map actually really played to our strengths, and so I'm happy with it. While your ballistic mechs are below 50% health, they have more damage resistance, 25%. Bullet Storm. When your ballistic mechs deal critical damage, they have a chance to get an extra hit. Penetrating shots, your ballistic mechs deal increased damage and inflict ruptured. Okay, the enemy takes damage while moving. Yeah, let's take that. That sounds good. That sounds like a good one right there. We'll take an event. You stumble upon what looks to be a vault in the face of a cliff with no insignia as to who it belongs to. Who knows what riches could be inside? We can upgrade one of our upgrades to a higher color tier if we take 25 damage on all of our mechs. Okay. What did it upgrade? Did it upgrade anything interesting? I'm not sure what it upgraded. I wasn't paying attention. One thing they'll want to have right there is the upgrade that gets picked should pop up. It should come to the center of the screen. It should wobble and shake and be like, and then upgrade to its new color. It's one of those quality of life things that just makes the game feel better. This is our last fight before we get to repair, so let's make it a hot one. 300 damage dealt by fire class units. Okay, I like it. I'll take it. He can't fire over the walls right there. Let's just get you onto high ground, maybe. Like a little ambush position right there. I'll have you do your thing. I like these Chinook Huey things that the bad guys have, man. Good stuff. Good solid hits right there. Good solid wave. Nothing to worry about on that side. I don't think we took a single tick of damage. Next up, they're going to try to seize the high ground, though, which is going to be the fun part. So let's see if we can wheel around that and sort of deny access over here. I don't know if any of them are going to land on the ground. He just canceled his own order. He can self-repair, so I don't feel too badly about him tanking a wave of bullet guys. He also hits so hard that they rarely, if ever, get damage off in the first place. Good stuff. Next wave's in 3 seconds. The wave comes whether or not you want it to, by the way. In case you were wondering, I don't think the next wave coming is sort of like contingent on you wiping out the previous wave. So if you take too long and you try to kite too much, you may end up biting off more than you can chew, just from what I've seen so far. Those guys are dropping a little bit close for comfort, but since we have a massed fire over here, we should be okay. Unless a fire unit lands right there. A fire unit did not land right there, so that's good for us. All right, another really solid wave. The only thing that really sucks is that there's no ramp on this side for me to utilize. Enemies coming in from the left, so they could be at the top. Let's put him in cover up there. Let's put you right there, and we'll put you right there, and we'll just sort of see if that works for us. Fall back, never mind. They're landing a flame tank up here. You just bomb out from the corner. You death from above him. There we go, good kill. I needed him off the grid about as fast as humanly possible. Good stuff. Waves are going well right now. I'm very, very happy with the way this is transpiring. Recenter, everybody. Okay, more shooters over here. Let's keep our grid just like that. You can run a self-repair if you want. I wouldn't be against it. They kind of have to come to us over here, and so I'm sort of limited on the amount of mines that I can put down. When this guy stops in spot, we're going to jump him. Or he can die instantly coming down the hill. Never mind. Some definite flame drops right there with the particle effects coming on screen. If I had to posit a guess what's causing it, it's the particle effects that cause it to, like, hitch a little bit. Either that or maybe there's just animation slowdown. It's kind of hard to say. We've got a final wave over here. We're going to want you on that high spot. We're going to want you on the low spot defending that. We'll put you right there just so you can, like, fire at anything. We'll deal with any major mechs by death from aboving them. Oh, no, I missed. Oh, it still damages him. It's an AoE. Nice. I didn't realize it was an AoE, so that works out. I'll take it. You go ahead and get in position. I like how the bad guys are just being like Amazon Prime to the front. Cool. Another victory to take care of right there. I haven't found the game to be particularly too challenging yet, but then again, I haven't really been throwing myself at the super difficult missions yet either. Your fire mechs have a faster fire rate and inflict exposed. Okay, that sounds good. Let's do that. Repair shop. Field repairs for 75 bucks. We can get 20% health back to all the mechs in our squad. We can get extra charges for each of our abilities. Increase the health of all of our mechs. Let's go ahead, and I'd like to go for a heal up front. It looks like we get the full 75 right there, and sure, add another charge on everything. Sounds good. I've never done this boss fight before, so let's just kind of see how this thing goes. We do need to deliver fuel supplies. Hopefully they don't come from the east. Looks like they're coming in from the south. Let's get these guys all into like a decent firing position. And then we'll siphon off whatever fuel we can and run it back over. Ooh, we got bombing runs, huh? That's fun. Okay. I will deal with the bombing runs as they come. We've got really good cover on all sides of the map, so like I'm feeling pretty positive about that. As soon as that fire goes out, go ahead and load that fuel. We need the money for doing the extra objectives. I just spent all my money. They're all going to land up here. I don't particularly have any cover to fight from over here, which I find to be particularly jarring. He's got the fuel. Let's drop this off over here. You get to right there. DFA him, please. That got rid of all of his armor. He's now dead. You stay the hell away from the flamethrowers. Yeah, flamethrowers are real bad for my artillery tank. As it turns out, things that are explosive, you don't want them to be near things that are on fire. It's just kind of the way the universe goes. We got explosive damage coming from over here. I think our best shot is going to be just to take the high ground. We don't really have too many more options other than that. You wait for the bombing run to be over, but mercifully it was dropped kind of off in no man's land, so don't worry about it. Both of you get up there. Get him down a little bit lower so he's not taking the explosive shots, but he's still able to fire back. Okay, go gather the fuel. We've got a couple of seconds to reposition. Let's recenter everybody, too, so that we can adapt to wherever they hit us from faster. Okay, same positions as before. Next verse, same as the first. Move you down to there, I guess. Go drop that off. Flamethrower tank over here's a little bit of a liability. Let's jump in on him. Another mech right there. Almost ate up my cover. Almost got it. Fuel supplies have been delivered, so we just need to babysit everybody now. Explosive damage up there. So let's park a flamethrower up there. Maybe park him over there so that he's like the farthest one away and he doesn't get blasted. You move over to there so that you don't get bombed. Okay, that tank's already down. Flamethrower's in a primo position right now to get some really solid damage bonus kills on the enemy. I find that the flamethrower mech is by far the best one in the game. The flamethrower mech is like utterly absurdly good compared to the other ones. I don't know if it's just like the tick rate on his weapons or what it is, but I have found the flamethrower to be like the guy. Like he's the one that holds the line while everybody else is struggling. Do I have any heals right now? If I do, let's run one of those real quick. Oh no. So one of the things that annoys me about this game is that, so let's say you have a unit selected and you click on a location, that's fine. But if you click on a location that's occupied by another unit, they kind of like swap positions. Sometimes I'll have a unit on my clicker and I'll just go to click somebody else to take selection of them. This is like in contrast to a lot of other games, and it's going to take some muscle memory retraining to get there. I hate to be the one to say it, but that's just the way it goes. We're getting shot at a lot right now. Good damage going out right there. Looks solid. I'll take it. Get back into cover. They kind of deployed. Nope, that's not what I wanted you to do either. It's okay for the matchup right here that he's weak to that because he's also in cover. And there you go. We completed, like, I think our first boss mission. So we unlocked a new pilot, actually. We got 700 scrap. We got some valor. We got blueprints. And so it looks like there will be stuff to play around with. But with that all taken into account, we've expunged the demo. And that'll take us back to the metagame layer of the title in case you were wanting to see that. We've got the pilot barracks over here. We unlocked Billy Ferguson, apparently, who can call in airstrikes. That's kind of sick, and it looks like he can increase his damage as well. All these characters have different things that they're capable of upgrading, whether it be the charges or the range on their shots or anything else. I'd be curious about actually swapping this guy into the flamethrower tank and buffing his range so that the flamethrower has like the same, I guess, range that like the artillery has, but that would be kind of cool. And use the stars to upgrade these guys. Then you've got a mech yard over here. You can customize your mechs and you can add new parts to them to make them better. I haven't seen a cosmetic difference so far in things that I've equipped, but maybe there will be later on. We also have the junkyard shop where you can spend meta currency to buy new parts for your mechs that will allow you to like regenerate health or increase your crit chance. Each of these has sort of like a gear score on it that lets you know how good it is. So this guy right here, we have an exposing power distributor. So that just flatly gives you 30% more damage and also gives you a chance to expose the enemy. So we'll take that. We've got plated greaves on this side. Armor's really good, so I would take it. That's more HP right there. The repair suite, maybe. Yeah, let's get the repair suite while we're in here. And then, of course, you could just come to the mech yard and you can slap all this stuff in like so. And then there's going to be little synergies and things that go along with kind of adding onto your mechs. But all in all, I like the game. There will be actually a full European campaign with sort of different evil bosses you have to take down. My observations about the game right now is that I'd like to see the game get a little bit further away from the Slay the Spire format. All the things like expose and weakness and, you know, all that kind of stuff, and like the flat stat increases are very, very Slay the Spire. And I feel like we've seen that about a million billion times before. I think with giant mechs, there's a lot more interesting things that you can do with your upgrades and the stuff that they're able to play around with, and so I'd like to see that worked on. I think that's really kind of like my big main concern with the game as of right now, is just like the flat stat increases with the exact same debuffs that we've seen in every other roguelite are kind of like, you know, shrug. Like, can't we get something a little bit better there? So I think that's like my one big thing with this game, is that they need to move away from the flat stat increases and the Slay the Spire style, you know, damage model where you've got weakness, you've got exposed, you've got the things that decrease the enemy's damage, you've got the things that increase your own damage, the conditionals and stuff like that. I think there's much more room here to do much more interesting things, and so I would maybe brainstorm on that a little bit, how they can break away from just sort of this tired roguelite formula that we've seen. But from there, the gameplay itself is unique and interesting, and so this is Grit and Valor. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. It was Grit and Valor today. Tomorrow will be something else. Bye, folks.